So, this is what I would consider my very first video diary entry. I've kept diaries in the past, and I've done it for short stints and never really have committed to the idea, the concept. And usually one of the main reasons why I never stick to it is because of the this whole aspect of my personality where I start to picture a scenario where somebody stumbles upon it and begins reading my innermost personal thoughts, and I think about how embarrassing I think about how embarrassing the experience would be for me, even though even though said person, one would imagine, would never actually come up to me and say, "Oh my God, I read your diary, and that entry about February 12th was so ridiculous and so over the top," or whatever. Insert whatever sort of um, judgmental comment. Um, so that's one of the reasons. The other reason why I've never committed to the concept and I never kept them up is because of this thing that I noticed about my approach, and that I didn't like. And that thing was this sort of presentational, this need to this need to be so damn fucking presentational in the way that I wrote every entry. And it just those two things combined, it just always proved to be this effort that maybe I wasn't, that meant, that diary keeping was just not my thing. And so fast forward to this moment in time that I find myself in right now. February 13th, at 4:15 a.m. now. 4:11 when I started recording this, where and by the way, it happens to be the day of ghost moon, which is a full moon that doesn't happen very often, but more on my astronomical interests later. Um, anyway, I was moved to begin doing these video diaries because I have been going through through quite the spiritual awakening as of late, and I I I've realized that I don't share much of myself in general, much less the details of the spiritual awakening. And yeah, it just, long story short, the thought entered my brain, the synapses in my brain just sparks just went off, a whole series of fireworks. M40s, is an M40 a type of firework? I have vague memories from growing up in Logan Square in the 1990s and my brother blowing up those huge, loud, bomb sounding fireworks in the corner of near our house. I had this moment of inspiration that made me open up my laptop and press record and force me to try this thing which is completely so completely not me. I thought that I that I that I being vulnerable to myself in this medium and opening up to this level, it just boiled. Just boiled to this point. And for the catalyst for this is a video game which I've been playing for I don't know how long I've been playing it, but I've definitely been obsessing over it, and it's been consuming my night owl. Uh, my night owl time. Definitely for the last 3, 4, 5 months. And that video game is Red Dead Redemption 2. Anyway, as I mentioned, I've been going through this period of spiritual awakening where my curiosity about who we are, who I am, why we're here, the meaning of life, the meaning of human connections, connectivity, and all of the things that have been part of my realm of curiosity for the longest fucking time. Just general super super what's a good way to describe it? Not quite an obsession, but anyway, lost my train of thought. Not really. I didn't lose my train of thought. Caught myself. In that moment, I became insecure as to how clearly I was expressing myself, and therefore, remnants of that part of my character that is always self-evaluating came out, and that's why I stopped myself and I wasn't able to complete the sentence. Blah, 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 whatever. So this video game has been part of my life in this phase of self-discovery and exploration, and I recently had a really fun night with Jermid, my hubby, where we were just hanging out, taking tokes of ketamine and just bumps of Molly and just hanging out, where I finally got to expose him to this thing, that brings me so much joy, this video game that I have found to be profoundly beautiful, profoundly educational, and just overall a beautiful masterpiece. That's how I described it to him. A masterpiece in video gaming experience. And the reason why the gist of what I communicated to him as to why I think it is a masterpiece was that what I said was that I think it's beautiful that we find ourselves in this point in time where anybody, especially a heteronormative, shoot 'em up type of like macho dude who you would think might not have very many avenues to be exposed to concepts of not concepts of, but who might not otherwise be exposed to what am I trying to say? To thinking about good and evil in a very deep and meaningful way. That said individual would be presented with the opportunity to explore these things, in such a way, with such beautiful graphics, with such a beautiful storyline, with such just beauty. Granted, it is all digital, and it was it's not nature or whatever, right? It's not like climbing El Capitan in Yellowstone or wherever the fuck it is. It's not like that type of experience, but nonetheless, a team of brilliant, I think they're brilliant, these people that put together these games, like they do so much research, historical research. They try to they do such an amazing job. I'm obviously geeking out over over the game in general, but in general, these games, particularly Rockstar, the people the same people that make Grand Theft Auto, and other huge blockbuster games. They really put in the work. They do historical research. They do they bring in amazing music. Hang on for a second. Hold, please. Excuse me. Adios mío. Okay, I'm back, and we're back. They do such an amazing work with the artwork, with the music, with the historical research applied to the game, and they just really create this amazing experience for you. And as I said earlier, with this video game, it's a cowboy game, right? So there's going to be lots of shooting, lots of just violence, and not just in human to human side of things, but also hunting animals. It shows you you hunt a bear or an elk or whatever, a fucking squirrel, and you get to skin it, and they show that as part of the game, right? If you have never played the game, play it. You'll see what I'm talking about. Anyway, and long story short, fast forward to tonight, and I was playing the game earlier, and I was kind of like wondering why I wasn't like just diving deep. It was like hubby went to sleep. I stayed up as I usually do, and I'm playing the game, and I'm like, oh, I'm not really in. But what do I want to do? Do I want to go to bed? No, I don't want to do that. Do I want to play, Humankind on my computers, or buy Civilization 7, the new one that just came out? Nerd. Probably so. No. And so I brought my laptop, and I started playing the game, and I started to look for walkthroughs and things where to find legendary animals, so you can get trinkets, which would increase your capacity with your ammo or whatever. And I'm doing that research and blah blah, and of course, inevitably, my ADD kicks in, and one thing leads to another, and one click leads to another. Rather, I should put that as a t-shirt. Oh my god. Look for that t-shirt. the links to come in the future, because I'm thinking I might have to. Anyway, lots of ideas. I began playing these YouTube videos about spirituality, and I started going down the vein of down the rabbit hole of the clicking through all these sort of content that I usually listen to, and in particular, I was listening to these videos and that talk about the gateway process, this process that was created by the Monroe Institute, that that the CIA contracted the Monroe Institute to create. I think the details, the specifics on the whole thing, I'm still trying to suss them out. But apparently, anyway, this technology helps you to sort of connect your left brain and your right brain hemisphere, and it helps you basically. It's basically a shortcut. Listening to the the Gateway Experience, which is a series of recordings that guide you through levels of ascendance, similar to the levels of ascendance that one would acquire if one meditates. And so I read somewhere that doing the Gateway Experience is equivalent to attaining the level of enlightenment one would get to after 15 years of meditation and whatnot. And anyway, blah blah blah. So picture the whole thing, right? Like I'm my laptop on the side, the controller in my hand, and I'm like playing my video game. It's on mute, so that I'm not distracted. And typical ADD, right? I could, and then so I'm playing the game on mute, and I'm just like aimlessly doing shit. I'm like, oh, I might hunt a fucking badger so that I can get the whatever satchel trinket, which lets me collect an unlimited amount of herbs so that I can, cook venison with oregano and thyme, which gives you different like superpowers or whatever the fuck. Like just aimlessly just doing all that shit because there's so many options. The game is fucking amazing. You could just you could just wander about and like you'll find a blind man begging for money in the middle of a mountain, and depending on how you behave, you go towards goodness or you scale down towards badness, right? And I find myself just deciding to go up this sort of mountainous territory that looks a bit like Yellowstone, like those sort of like national parks that we have, and both of which I've been to, Yellowstone and now I'm getting nervous. Yellowstone and brain fart, whatever. But I'm climbing the fucking thing, and then the last video that I was listening to was Joe Rogan interviewing this comedian who was talking about his experience coming back from a DMT trip that basically just like annihilated him for 18 months of his life. And so he's recounting what he saw, how it affected him, how it basically literally turned his whole life upside down, and how it took a year and a half for him to recover from this DMT trip and all of the things that it did to him. And I'm listening to him, and I'm like, yeah, that's I'm finding points of that I can understand with regards to some of the things that he experienced. I can relate to it just because of my having had ayahuasca-like experiences on ketamine. Some of them while playing this fucking game. And I mean, so as I'm listening to the video and I'm playing the video game, I'm continuing to like meander up the mountain, and I decide to go, just climb us. I was figuring like, oh wait, I've never been up here, and this looks like it'd be really hard to climb, because the game is so good where it's like you can climb and climb and climb, but at some point if you get to part of a mountain that's very rocky and whatever, uh, you're going to fall and you're going to slip and slide, and the game will be like, no, bitch, but like turn back, get on your horse, and go hunt a rabbit, and do a campfire, whatever. But I persist. I'm going. I continue to go on and on and on, and I'm listening to the thing, and I'm like, sort of like, in my head, I was like, that's why I will never do DMT, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because I'm good with ketamine. Like, the ketamine, like, I love it. um, and I'm recognizing that there are levels to ascending, right, and transcendence, and your spiritual, like, chasing the dragon, right, like, where, and I'm recognizing, I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. Like, I would never fucking do that, because like, I'm good with my level of reaching my levels of. I'm good with the methodology that I'm employing to become more spiritually aware, and learn new concepts and take in that new information, and letting it do whatever it is supposed to do for me, and it's at its own pace, and so long story short, I found myself at the very top of this fucking mountain, and the whole journey up, the whole thing was kind of funny, because like I kept finding these rocks that, like, if I were to go by them, I would just make these huge avalanches of rocks, and I was like, oh my god, if I was, oh, that's the other thing too. Like, I'm, this was just me drinking, right? Like, me sober, because don't have any gummies or any ketamine on me today, so it's just me and a Thursday night, Wednesday night, and a drink. And I'm doing this whole thing where I'm like, oh, if I only had some ketamine, this would be a fucking amazing, Red Dead Redemption night, where I'd be getting all these realizations, and I'd be, finding the meaning of life through this exploration of a digital fucking life, right? This, like, cowboy that I'm embodying with my remote, and I have this realization of, like, no, bitch, like, look, and I'm in awe, right, of all the vistas, and like, just the beauty of it, and how amazing a job they did, even with the swooshing sound that you would imagine that you would get at being at the top of a mountain. And I had this moment where I realized that I don't have to. I'm fooling. I realized that I'm fooling myself in thinking that I can only appreciate and get the entire experience or that type of intense experience that I've had before with the game, that contributes to my spiritual enlightenment, unless I'm on drugs, and I'm walking around and I'm taking screenshots, and I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna make a beautiful picture on my phone, and blah blah blah. And I get to this part of I'm like, oh, let me go to that side of the mountaintop and go explore. And I get there, and I see this person. I noticed that there's a person. I didn't expect anybody to be up there, because it's the very top of the mountain. There's nothing there. And it's this figure sitting lotus style, and I noticed the burgundy color, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck? I'm getting closer and closer, and is that a fucking monk at the top of this mountain? Is he in lotus position? Is he meditating? And I had this whole sort of like moment of connectivity. Um, it was just a combination of everything. This might seem trivial, but obviously it wasn't. I began the video by crying, and it's funny because I suspected since yesterday that a good cry was long overdue because I haven't in a long time had a good cry about anything. Um, and yeah, I approach and it's a fucking monk, and um, and you know, I do the I do the commands on the remote to sort of to begin the conversation to see if this is like a character that I could that my video game character can have a conversation with. And sure enough, I haven't done I haven't played it yet, because I just had to pause because I I did the first move, and my cowboy's like, "Are you all right, buddy?" or whatever the fuck he says to the monk, and I'm looking at it, and we're both facing the mountaintop, and there's this beautiful valley underneath, and with these lakes and clouds and mountain snow-capped mountaintops in the background, and it reduced me to fucking tears. Um, and because I haven't, other than that conversation that I had with my hubby about how this game is, how I think this game is a masterpiece because it gives not just me, somebody who is, um, you know, a game man who might have more forks on the road to arrive to, and obviously this is a huge generalization, right? But in my mind, than your typical male who would buy a shoot 'em up game, right? Like, I mean, this is not very different from Call of Duty or whatever the fuck. There's guns, right? There's like shotguns and you name it. There's gore. There's like, I mean, when you shoot somebody, like the animation slows down to a point where you see the shot going in and like the blood splatter, right? Um, and I, as I said to my husband, I think it's beautiful that we live in this day and age where there are people who create, this content that have found a way to put it in these video games where you might expose somebody who otherwise would not be exposed to these ideas of spirituality, like beyond exploring the concept of of good and evil, right? Like being a good person, being a bad person. Um, being exposed to all these larger concepts of spirituality. So anyway, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this video. Might not do anything. Just like I haven't done anything with my Christmas decorations. Right, Chef Nutcracker? I may or may not do something with it. I've been thinking about toying with the idea of not necessarily toying with the idea, but I've been getting so many hints on my spiritual journey about the need to not just continue to consume, spirituality concepts, but also the need um, to to find other people who are on similar journeys, and also to share it with other people might be who might benefit from it. So anyway, that's it. Um, and yeah, that's it. Bye.